I think we'll be dissipating our energy when we start complaining about discrimination.
Those involved in this illegal mining, they give them arms, they use choppers to come and cut away the gold and make billions of US dollars.
The Igbos, they lost everything. So after the war, they returned. And in the space of 10 years, they all became very rich again. They could have moved from one city to another complaining. We have gas, and we have another thing that other countries do not have. 230 to 250 million people who are very effervescent. I went to Ghana and invested over $6 billion and I lost everything. The Ghanaians, compared to Nigerians, are very lazy. I have a suggestion for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and I have a suggestion for the governors of the southern states. I would suggest to people in authority, particularly in the South, not to dwell on the discrimination that is taking place. Where, for example, bunkering here is being tackled, whereas illegal mining in Zamfara and other parts of the north is allowed to thrive.
Those involved in this illegal mining, they use choppers, they procure arms, exactly the same way as our military were doing in the South. They give them arms, they use choppers to come and cut away the gold, and they take them out of this country and make billions of US dollars. And the federal government is not doing what it should be doing. I took this letter to the former president when I was national chairman of APC. And I said, call the general to give you more brief. In fact, what is happening, or what subsequently happened in that part of the country, was exactly what the general told me was going to happen. Because these guys have been weaponized by the illegal big men who deploy them, secure territories, and the weapon is meant to protect the Chinese and other foreigners who they actually employ to carry out the mining. And on occasion, they use the same weapon to carry out banditry, kidnapping, and all of the terrible things that are going on. Chief of Committee Chairman of Defense Staff, tell the defense I said so.
There's a quotation that I put in mind many years ago as a child. He said, God grant us the serenity to accept those things that we cannot change. Courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So I think we'll be dissipating our energy when we start complaining about discrimination. The Igbos, I was in boarding school when the war started in 1967. My father came to pick me up from Ebenezer Nursery School at St. Matthew's Cathedral. So I knew what happened. I saw everything. The Igbos were very close to us in our neighborhood at New Benin, and they lost everything. So after the war, they returned. And in the space of 10 years, they all became very rich again. They did not bother themselves because they would only give you £20 each. They could have moved from one city to another complaining that they were shortchanged. They did not do that. They embraced the dignity of labor, and within 10 years, they became very rich. Today, I've read so many figures, statistics, that the Igbos are the richest tribe in Nigeria through apprenticeship. So the point I want to make now, and the advice I want to give to our leaders in the South, is that might is just. The Northerners, they hold control over the means of coercion. They control the military. So whatever they want, they get. Why should you waste your energy trying to fight them over their decision to regulate and discourage bunkering in the South and encourage illegal mining in the North? That should not be your business. Your business should be, what can we do here in the South to enliven our economy, to put ourselves in a position where we can have meaningful development. And so I have a suggestion for them. I have a suggestion for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and I have a suggestion for the governors of the southern states, particularly the Niger Delta states, and for all the governors across the Federation. it is possible for Nigeria to start manufacturing. When I say manufacturing, I am not talking about assembly things. I'm not talking about bringing in parts and coupling a vehicle and say made in Nigeria. I'm not talking about bringing in parts for solar panel. You couple it and say made in Nigeria. Or bringing parts of drones and couple it and say made in Nigeria. That is self-deceit. What I'm talking about is that it is possible for us to start manufacturing things in Nigeria, not in 5 years' time, not in 10 years' time, starting within a period of 9 months or a year if we take it very seriously. How are we going to do that? Because if I tell you we can do it and I don't tell you how, I will not be helping the situation. Because you don't only talk about strategy, you also talk about logistics. That is why we have problem fighting the insurgency, the Boko Haram, because our military is always advancing beyond logistics. When you are fighting, you do not advance beyond your logistics. And what is logistics? If you want people to go to a particular destination to go and fight, you don't just put them inside a Hilux vehicle and put a machine gun on top and drive them there to go and start fighting. That's the wrong way to do it. The first thing you do, send a reconnaissance to go and see where the enemies are. You prepare for sufficient water, prepare for sufficient food, prepare for sufficient ammunition, prepare for sufficient parts to repair, prepare for sufficient aviation fuel and the diesel for the vehicles. All these things are the logistics, and they should be ahead of the invading army. Otherwise, they will just be led into an ambush. So, that being said, I'm talking about strategy and logistics. So, what is the strategy? Very quickly. One, if you want to manufacture anything from the elements, say for example, let's take solar panel, because everybody needs solar panel in Nigeria. That's true. Is it possible to make solar panel? Yes. So what do you use to make solar panel? Solar panel, I know that it contains over 70 elements. But those 70 elements are just in trace quantity. The major element that is involved there is silica, which is silicon. Silicon is an element. Silica is a compound. So you need to use silica, which is from silicon, to make the bulk of a solar panel. And that comes in the form of quartz, because quartz, which is silica, is actually 1 atom of silicon and 2 atoms of oxygen. And they are found in abundant quantity in the north, and particularly in northern Edo State. That is already available. So, how do you now make solar panel or even a telephone? You need the machinery. But before you talk about the machinery, you need to be able to generate electricity. And how do you do that? The mistake that people make, and one of the reasons why people do not want as governor or as president to get involved in long-term projects, is that they will not be able to take credit for it. When I was growing up, we used to have 20 years developmental plan. But today, I don't think we even have a 4-year developmental plan. And we need it. So, realizing that as a problem, I decided to come up with a strategy of what a president can do within one tenure, or a governor can do within one tenure, and be able to start it and complete it so that he can take credit for it. I'm not saying that the government of Nigeria or the governor of any state should start a company that will be manufacturing solar panel. To the contrary, what I'm saying is that you can get the government to create an enabling environment that will encourage the entrepreneurs to get involved into this project. For example, to generate power, you will need gas. And that gas should be given to the entrepreneurs who are going to be manufacturing finished product free of charge. Because China subsidizes their electricity to manufacturing to encourage the Chinese entrepreneurs and industry to manufacture their products. That is why they outperform America in everything. Almost every product you can imagine is made in China. And that is what Trump is saying. Trump is saying, what is happening is wrong. We need to move those factories back to America so they'll be manufactured in America. Because if you stay too long without doing the same thing often, you will forget how to do it. That is how the human mind is. And so, the strategy is very simple: to look for a way where you can make that gas available to the entrepreneurs free. Don't worry yourself about trying to gain money from selling commodities, because gas is a commodity. The way the government will think about it now is, we are selling compressed natural gas for X amount of naira, they must pay for it. Don't worry about that. You have a mission. Your mission is to encourage industrial manufacturing, where you can add value. So that something that is, of course, just a compound that is sitting there in a donut on the ground, of no use to anybody. You can take that compound, subject it to electricity, and you start manufacturing things. So how are you going to do that now? So step one, federal government must make the gas available, because whatever amount you are going to sell it for is infinitesimal in value compared to what you will achieve if you manufacture something. If you are able to manufacture something, the government will benefit in many ways, multiple ways. One, you won't have to spend money to import that solar panel into Nigeria anymore. Two, you will create a lot of jobs, a lot of employment. Three, you'll be able to generate tax revenue from that, and your economy will grow exponentially. I keep saying this. I said Japan doesn't have anything, yet they import all the raw materials and they manufacture finished products to the extent that they are number 5 in the world. After USA, China, Germany, then the next country is Japan, an island that has nothing. And they are able to achieve that because of industrial manufacturing. So how are you going to achieve that? So number one, I propose our government should allow the entrepreneurs to use that CNG free of charge. 2, how are you going to use that CNG? What do you need to do that? You can bring in a trailer mounted, they call it TM 2500 turbine, electric arc turbine, manufactured by General Electric of America. A brand new one will be too expensive. A refurbished one is $1.5 million. That's not too much. It can generate between 22 and 32 megawatts of power. So if you have 20 of that, 30 of that, you do the math, multiply it, you see how many megawatts you can produce. At the moment, last year, at the highest peak, Nigeria was able to generate only 5,000 megawatts. Most of the time, we generate just about 3,000. Total installed capacity for Nigeria is about 8,000 megawatts, but most of them are not functional. So, if you want to be able to work quickly, instead of constructing those huge plants that takes about 4, 5, 6 years to manufacture or to install, get this TM 2500 made by GM, and you can fly it on an aeroplane or bring it on a ship. Bring 20, put them in a particular location, plug them to gas, and generate electricity. So if it's 22 megawatts or 25 megawatts, you synchronize them, you can have 600 megawatts. And that can cost you under $50 million. And you have over 600 megawatts of power. You can double that to 1,200. If you have that at a particular location, don't take that power into the city. Use it right there. Because as you are trying to go into the city, you will spend a lot of money hoisting the electric poles and the conductors that will transmit power, getting transformers. All that is too cumbersome. If you want to have electricity in the city, by the time you start producing solar panel, they will have electricity in the city. So you start from a very simple premise. Take this TM 2500, take it to a particular location where you have gas. The federal government allows you to plug it and get free gas, generate the power. And then, how do you now manufacture solar panel? The machines are there in China, they are there in Europe. Encourage entrepreneurs. You can finance them. Let Nigerians put down collateral. If Nigerians can run a cement factory, Nigerians can run banks, why can't Nigerians run a factory that can manufacture solar panel? It is possible. But this will add more value in terms of economic value than whatever it is we are doing now with cement or with banking. So when we get into industrial manufacturing in this manner, you bring in the machines and you bring in the expatriates, because we don't know how to do it. Now you have gas, you have TM plug into the gas to generate power, you synchronize, you bring in the machines that can make solar panel. There are more than maybe 1,000 steps you will take. You can fit those machines into about a 5-hectare plot of land. And I know it's not only solar, not only silica or silicon that is needed, but that's the quantum of it. Just like when you talk of manufacturing an aeroplane now, most of the things, the element that you have there, the majority is aluminum. If you want to make a car now, the element that you have there that is the quantum is iron. But there are many other things. So there are 83 stable elements out of the 118 naturally occurring elements known to science. Out of those 83, 70 of them are needed inside a telephone or the solar panel. But they are always in very little infinitesimal percentage. So if you have those machines and you have the expertise that can do that, you are good to go. Because the main obstacle is electricity. And why other countries cannot do it is because they don't have gas. We have gas, and we have another thing that other countries do not have. we have 230 to 250 million people who are very effervescent. I went to Ghana and invested over $6 million and I lost everything. The Ghanaians, compared to Nigerians, are very lazy. You ask a Ghanaian to go to work for you, they start work by 9, by 11:30, they say they are going on break. They come back from break at 12:30. By 4 o'clock, they say they have closed. You say, okay, you want to do overtime? You say, no, I have a funeral. Nigerians, on the other hand, can work 12 hours, 6 days a week. So with this kind of people and the kind of intelligence that our people have, if we work with these expatriates for a year, 2 years, you see that Nigerians, we will start teaching them how to do it. That is something that is unique about Nigeria. Everybody talk about Nigeria in America, how Nigerians are number one in terms of literacy rate, not compared to the blacks in America, compared to the Asians, compared to the rest of America. As an ethnic group, Nigerians are number one in America. Literacy rate, Nigerians are number one in America. So you see, black Americans who are already citizens, their great-great-grandparents were slaves, are not able to achieve that. Nigerians that went there on visas or as visitors are able to strive and achieve more as a group, as a people, more than the black Americans. So there's something special about Nigerians. Therefore, if that opportunity is given where people who are already experts that know how to manufacture solar panel or how to manufacture telephones, smartphones, if they are brought here and the machineries are here, electricity is here, the frustrating thing about running an industry in Nigeria is lack of electricity. So I run factories. Sometimes you have power for only 4 hours a day, 5 hours. You never know when you have power. But if you have this, you see that you are running 24 hours. We have Chinese people in Nigeria. They are here in Edo State. They run their factories 24 hours. And what are they using? They are using our gas. They know where the gas line is and they want to plug into it. They are manufacturing glass, they are manufacturing ceramics, they are manufacturing iron rods, multiple products. But they will not manufacture solar panel, they will not manufacture telephones because they want to import it. That is why I continue to emphasize that there's no country in the world that was industrialized by foreigners. They have their plan, their strategy. Their strategy is not to come and industrialize Nigeria. And by the way, what effort are we making to put our people to understudy whatever they are doing there in their manufacturing process? Zero. I've been there multiple times. You know how Nigerians address the Chinese in a factory in Edo State? Master. Master. So in our heads, we still believe we are slaves. Black man in Nigeria addressing a Chinese man, a Lebanese man, as master. That's a master-slave mentality. And all these things are happening because we do not have a policy that will control the activities of the Chinese and the Indians. All the serious manufacturing that is going on in Nigeria today are being done by Lebanese, by Indians, and by Chinese. Not much is done by Nigerians. Doyin was doing so much before in Kwara. I've not heard about him for so long because there's always a method to frustrate our people out of business. We have to be able to overcome that silly way of thinking. We must put Nigerians first. if we want our country to industrialize, to develop, we must make sure that the economy, the industrial manufacturing, is under the control of Nigerians, not under the control of Indians or Lebanese or Chinese. They should work for us. 20 years ago, I had 5 expatriates working for me. I had 2 from America, 1 from Canada, and 2 from Italy. They were working for me. I was paying their salary because at that time, I was exporting wood as a finished product. I was exporting packet as a finished product. I needed their expertise, so I brought them here. After 5 years, Nigerians knew how to do it, so I sent all of them back packing. Unfortunately, we don't have wood anymore. So the point is this: things are possible. I try to simplify things by saying we manufacture glass from sand. We manufacture solar panel from sand. We manufacture telephone from sand because it is all silicon. That's the element, is the key element there. I call it sand because I want people to know that whatever it is, we are standing on it. If I say silicon, they may not understand what silicon is. That's why I keep using the word sand, sand, sand. Sand is the same thing as silicon. It's an element. I think the second most abundant element on the earth crust. After oxygen, the second element that is most abundant on the earth crust is silicon. That is not to mistake it, because people will be sitting down there and say, no, it's hydrogen. Yes, if you are talking about the universe, yeah, it's hydrogen, number one. But the earth crust, it is oxygen. And silicon is the second element because it's everywhere. There's nowhere you go to where human beings have built houses, they didn't build it on top of sand. That is why I keep saying it is available. The moment you have sand, you have the ability to manufacture things concerning solar panel or a smartphone. Again, it's the pure quality you are looking for now, which is quartz. So don't mistake it. You say, Dr. Caesar said you can make it from only sand. Of course, the glass is made from sharp sand, but the glass on our telephone is made from a special silicon, not just the normal sand, because you have to make it to be very hard in case it falls from your hand to not just shatter. If you are holding a glass and you are drinking water and it falls from your hand, what happens to it? It will shatter. So they have to make it shatterproof. That's a special application. And all these things are possible if you have all the indices put in place. It's possible. So it's not a difficult project. It is something I want our leadership to take a very close look at. Our president has already spent 1 year in office, almost 3 years now that is left. Within that time, he can make a difference. If he can just start on this thing. If he starts now, within the next 12 months, he will see results. And then he will be the first president that has been able to superintend over an economy that is manufacturing something from the element, not assembly things. Something else that we can do, we can produce aluminum in Nigeria. We may not have bauxite in Nigeria, but we have bauxite in Guinea. Guinea is not too far from here, it's about 3,000 kilometers. If you look at the map of Africa, you look at the bight of Benin, the Atlantic, the distance, you can see it from Guinea to Nigeria. You put the machinery at the port, you bring the bauxite. Of course, if you want to produce aluminum, you need sodium hydroxide, which is another thing that we can also produce. Because sodium hydroxide, caustic soda, is made from salt. Salt is made up of two elements, sodium and chlorine. And then you add water to it, hydrogen and oxygen, so you have 4 elements. By the time you pass it through electrolysis, remove the chlorine and keep it somewhere where you can use it for, that is, what you've left is sodium hydroxide, which means sodium plus oxygen and hydrogen put together. And that is caustic soda. That is what you add to the bauxite to break it down to alumina. And from there onwards, you do the smelting, holler out, smelting process, and you make the aluminium. So if you make it at the pot there, you take the same aluminium after you have taken the bauxite, add sodium hydroxide to it in the Bayer method to create aluminium. Take the aluminium and do the smelting, you make aluminium. You can put it back on ship again and export it. You have added value and you have multiplied it several times over with a huge profit margin. And then you don't have to import aluminium anymore. You save the money. If you are producing solar panel, you don't have to import solar panel anymore. You can even export to other African countries. If you are making smartphones, most Nigerians will not have to buy smartphones anymore through import. That is the beginning of the awakening of the Nigerian economy. And if you start doing that, you will see that within the space of 10 years, Nigerian economy will surpass over $1 trillion. Right now, we are 199. South Africa is 400 and something plus. Egypt is about 400. 4 years ago, Nigeria was number 1. Because of the valuation, we are now number 6 or number 4 or number 5, I don't know. So we are moving backwards. We are the only country in Africa that has the chance to do all these things. We are the giant of Africa on paper. So we are a paper tiger. We need to be a real tiger on ground. Now we are a paper tiger. And how do we become a real tiger that can stand for the whole of Africa? It is by getting involved into manufacturing. South Africa is producing 75,000 megawatts by using coal. Egypt doesn't even have oil, it doesn't have gas, and they are producing over 60,000. Nigeria, at the highest peak last year, 5,000. Something can be done about that, and we should do it quickly. So I'm not saying follow the old method. The old method will take too long. Follow this method I've put in place now, and you see it happen very quickly. If you start now, by this time next year, you will see results. Nigerians want to see results. We have been told many times about so many promises. Everybody is tired of promises. We want to see action. And my program is all about action. Very little talk and much action. So you have the Ministry of Industry, that one should be scrapped. It's not doing anything. What is it doing? Industrial Bank, what are they doing? Nothing. Nothing. Nigerian government, they need people with great ideas, bright ideas, to advise them. You don't have to know anything about it, but you should have that urge in you to get this done. If you are a president or you are a governor, you travel overseas, what you should be thinking is, how do I visit where they are producing solar panel? Because I want us to make it in Nigeria. Let's go to that factory. Let's go to where they are making turbine. People go to Britain every day, and Rolls-Royce is making a turbine. I don't think our leaders have ever visited there to go and see how it's done. That is what we should be doing, because that is where our problem is, inability to manufacture anything. And when I say electric arc turbine made by General Electric, just for you to understand, it is the engine of a jet. When you are flying from Benin to Lagos or to Abuja, that engine you see there on that aeroplane, it's a turbine. That is what it is. It's just that that one uses aviation fuel, which is a fancy name for kerosene. It's kerosene, they call it aviation fuel. I don't know why they try to make things difficult to confuse us so that we won't know what they are talking about. It's just kerosene. That is using kerosene, but that same engine can use gas. To be dangerous to put gas on an airplane, that's why they use kerosene. But you can use it on land. Put that engine and plug it to gas to generate electricity. When it gets to the magnetic pole, the positive and the negative, the alternator will give you electricity. So basically, not to belabor the obvious, we have talked about it. That is the summary, is our leadership, they are interested, can talk about it, and have to get things done. I want everybody to know that it is possible. We are being disturbed now by the fact that we are not exporting enough oil because we are a commodity exporting country. That is a wrong approach. If we start this program I'm talking about now, in 3 years, you won't even think about crude oil anymore. Crude oil will become insignificant in terms of revenue generation. It is true. It's for us to really come out now and sit down and say, let's do it. Let us do it. We should believe in ourselves. Our leadership should believe in Nigerians, not foreigners. Let foreigners come and work for us the way they worked for me many years ago. Many foreigners are working for Dangote. Many foreigners are working for Adenuga. They are working for him. So when we have these industries here under the leadership of Nigerians, we can bring the best expatriates from Europe or from China to come and run it. Our people will now learn from them. Before you know it, we are manufacturing all these things. So many products. There is no product that we cannot manufacture because the scientific process is very basic. It is clear the way it is stated. It is not hidden. It is right there in front of us. And the moment we understand it, we will now join to lead on further research. At the moment, we don't need to do any research, zero research. Just copy what other people are already doing, just the way China did it. That is how China became a great power. I believe it is possible. I think we'll be dissipating our energy when we start complaining about discrimination.
Those involved in this illegal mining, they give them arms, they use choppers to come and cut away the gold and make billions of US dollars.
The Igbos, they lost everything. So after the war, they returned. And in the space of 10 years, they all became very rich again. They could have moved from one city to another complaining. We have gas, and we have another thing that other countries do not have. 230 to 250 million people who are very effervescent. I went to Ghana and invested over $6 million and I lost everything. The Ghanaians, compared to Nigerians, are very lazy. I have a suggestion for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and I have a suggestion for the governors of the southern states.